Good morning, good morning. As you guys know, I am on a little reverse diet because I won't shut up about it. Of course you know about it. But the goal, one of my goals with this reverse diet is to build maximum muscle. Okay, not maximum muscle or else I'd be in an actual bulk, but like I'm trying to build as much muscle as I feasibly can within the realm of the reverse diet. Anyway, today I wanted to talk through some of the top muscle building mistakes that people make when they're trying to put on the muscle. I'm also gonna take you through a full day of eating on my reverse diet. It's so interesting how much of a difference like 300 to 400 calories can make in your day with like what you can eat. I just feel like every week I've been going through this as I've been adding like a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more to my calorie intake. My diet has just been like shape shifting to accommodate the change in calories and change in macros that I'm aiming for. And it's just fun. Like it's fun to get to play with food and to add in some of my old favorites again, AKA the chocolate frosty smoothie bowl, which I am literally about to make for breakfast. Are we surprised?
Nope.
Marissa's obsessed with it again. But anyway, I am thoroughly enjoying this reverse diet. I am also very hungry because I woke up a little bit late, had to have a meeting, and have not had time to eat yet, and it's late. So I'm gonna make chocolate frosty smoothie bowl, and then we'll have a little chit chat about muscle building mistakes. These are the ingredients that I'm gonna be using today. I'm gonna start with the liquids. I have some canned coconut milk, although there's really not much left. I might have to open a new can. This is the full fat goodness. I usually do a little bit more than this, but I don't want to open a whole other can just to put in like this much. Do a little walnut milk, and because I have less coconut milk than normal, I'm gonna throw in a little coconut water. I don't know if that's a smart thing to do, I just feel like it makes sense. Then we have 3 tablespoons of cacao powder. As y'all know, I love chocolate, and this obviously would not be a chocolate frosty smoothie bowl without chocolate. I gotta get my protein in, so today I'm using the Organifi chocolate protein. Perfect. By the way, big fan of this protein, highly recommend. I'm also doing a tablespoon ground flax seeds. And then this stuff, man, cashew butter is just, it's magical and delicious. It's gonna do like 2 tablespoons of that. And then for sweetness, especially because I didn't have the full amount of coconut milk that I was gonna put in, I'm throwing in some honey. By the way, if you choose to recreate the smoothie bowl, you have to use full fat coconut milk. Like you can't be scared of the fat in the coconut milk, or else you're just gonna get a regular old smoothie that tastes like vegetables, because the base of this is vegetables. But the coconut milk is what makes it sweet and rich and creamy and gives it like the frosty texture. I'm also gonna add the tiniest amount of monk fruit. I have my frozen veggie smoothie cubes. So the frozen base of this smoothie is frozen sweet potato, cauliflower, and zucchini. There's also a little bit of goat milk yogurt that I mixed in with these. So I like chopped it up, steamed it, added the goat milk yogurt, froze it into cubes. And then we just throw it in the smoothie. Ooh. I almost forgot. I mean, I guess I don't have to do this, but I've been making this a chocolate mint smoothie lately. It makes me very happy. So I need 1 drop of peppermint extract. Literally, this stuff is so strong that if I accidentally put 2 drops in, it ruins the entire thing. Good. I'm gonna go blend this. It's a little bit soupier than normal, probably because I did less coconut milk and more normal milky, liquidy things, but it's okay. Still pretty thick. All right, while I digest before I head to the gym, let's talk through some of the first big muscle building mistakes that I see people making. And I think I want to start with the fundamentals. One of the biggest mistakes that people make all of the time, and this one sounds obvious, it sounds like who would make this mistake, but everyone makes it, is not eating enough and not eating enough protein. Building muscle tissue means you need to give your body more building blocks to create new tissue. You can't make new tissue out of nothing. So you have to be eating in a calorie surplus in order to build muscle. And there are multiple reasons why someone might make the mistake of not eating enough. Number 1 is not tracking your macros and or calories. If you've never intentionally put yourself in a surplus before, it can be hard to imagine this, but it can be really hard to know if you are eating in a surplus long term unless you're tracking. Your body is a homeostasis machine. It is driving you to maintain your current state. So if you're trying to ramp up the calorie intake to put on more mass, your body's natural regulation is going to decrease your hunger so that you feel like you're in a surplus when you're not actually in a surplus. If you eat in a surplus for 4, 5, 6 days, your body starts to go, whoa, 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 whoa. Let's scale back the hunger. And then day 7, you're eating 1,000 calories and you still feel full because your body's trying to compensate for the extra calories that you ate. So if you're not tracking, you're probably not eating in a surplus. But also, it can just generally be hard to sustain a surplus, just as it is hard to sustain a deficit. And so there's a few things that you can do to kind of help your body stay in a surplus without feeling constantly like you're just having to shove food in your face, because that can get kind of uncomfortable. One thing is doing small cuts, like 2 to 3 days every couple weeks. Like if you get to the point where you're hitting a wall and you're like, I literally only want to eat 1,000 calories today because I'm so full, take that as a sign to just take a tiny little 2 to 3 day break. Taking this break helps resensitize your body to the hunger and satiety hormones and kind of let itself like recalibrate for a hot sec before you put yourself back in the surplus. So you can get back into the surplus and not feel like you're constantly bogged down by food. And then something that I personally do, regardless of whether I'm in a deficit or in a surplus, is go based on my average macros. So I'll average my macros for the week and just aim for an average for the week rather than trying to hit a specific number day to day. I have a whole video going into how I do this, and I actually have an Excel spreadsheet download that you can use to track your average macros. But what this does, it allows you to capitalize on the days that you do feel hungrier and then scale back on the days that you do feel less hungry. And then the third thing you can do to help with the surplus is optimize your digestion. This is one of the hardest parts that comes with eating in a surplus, is it makes you feel like you're so full all the time, and it can lead to a lot of bloating and just a lot of general unpleasantness because your body's adapting to it. So like even if you're doing everything right with your food and you're not actually eating a bunch of stuff that would cause bloating, it can take a while for your body to adapt to just having more food to digest. So doing what you can to support your digestion while you're in a surplus can make a big difference. One of the best things that you can look into is taking a digestive enzyme. This is just gonna be an enzyme that helps your body digest more food. So you're basically just like giving your body a little extra boost when it comes to its digestive abilities. And then another thing you can look into is taking a probiotic. Our gut is full of millions of bacteria cells, ideally mostly good bacteria. And these little microorganisms help your body digest food better. And so if the balance of your gut bacteria is off, that's going to negatively impact digestion, and it's going to make it a lot harder for you to actively eat in a surplus. And as always, the probiotic that I recommend is from Seed, and this is actually a synbiotic, not just a probiotic. So it's a probiotic plus a prebiotic, because probiotics need prebiotics in order to like consume them and thrive in your gut. So this is a 2-in-1, and this was developed for its systemic benefits beyond just digestive health. It is the first in a pipeline of clinically studied next generation products, and it's just like, it is top notch. It's a 24 strain broad spectrum probiotic and prebiotic with 53.6 billion AFUs, and it uses capsule and capsule technology. You probably can't see, but there's a capsule inside the capsule, and the capsule inside the capsule is what has the probiotic in it, and the outside capsule protects the inside capsule so that it's also partially the prebiotic, but it also protects the probiotic inside so that it actually gets through your digestive system and can make it into the gut. But when it comes to digestion and being able to eat in a calorie surplus and feel digestively comfortable, there are 2 strains in this that were clinically studied for their benefits and efficacy in relieving intestinal discomfort, bloating, optimizing gut motility so that things flow well, and also relieving any sort of pain associated with digestion and bloating and, you know, just generally the tum-tum area. I've been taking this regularly for quite a while now. I absolutely love it. It is absolutely one of the best probiotic formulations on the market. There's a lot of probiotics out there that just like aren't really going to give you a lot of the benefits that you should be getting from a probiotic, which is really unfortunate. Supplements are just like so unregulated, and it's a mess. But Seed is actually like clinically researched and has a lot of science to back it up, and it's absolutely amazing and I love it. If you do want to check it out, you can get yourself 15% off of your first month's supply of Seed's Daily Synbiotic using the code FitAndNerdy at checkout. I will leave a link down in the description box below. Check it out. highly recommend. So hopefully those tips can help you eat more, because that is like fundamental number one of being able to build muscle. Fundamental number two that I think people make a lot of mistakes on is not prioritizing recovery. I literally just made a video all about how to improve your recovery from your workout, so I will leave a link to that down in the description box below. But what people don't realize is that what you do outside of the gym is just as important as what you do inside of the gym. Like, building muscle is not all about just lifting heavy and progressive overload. Like, it's about everything in between that, like in between your workouts also. So like, first and foremost, your sleep impacts recovery, your nutrition impacts recovery, your amount of stress impacts recovery. And the better you can recover, the faster you're gonna build muscle, the more muscle you're gonna build, the less likely you're gonna be to put on fat as you are in a calorie surplus. Everything just goes a lot better and a lot more efficiently and a lot smoother when you are prioritizing recovery. And if you have trouble thinking about recovery as something that's worth putting time and effort into, think of it as an extension of your workout. Like, sleeping is just as important as your actual workout. So think of it as like workout 2.0. Reframing the way you think of rest days as growth days instead, because that's really when like you're giving your body time to grow muscle, is your rest days. Also super important. Do check out my whole video on recovery. It will give you lots of more good details. And now I'm gonna go to the gym, get a little leg day in. I think I filmed this workout for you guys like 2 times already, so we're just gonna fast forward through it real quick. Let's go lift some heavy things. I am so proud of how strong I've gotten on this reverse diet. I just squatted 155 pounds for 4 reps and 6 sets, and just a month ago, so like basically 3 squat sessions prior, I was struggling to do 2 reps for 4 sets. Like, I was struggling so hard I needed to ask my boyfriend to spot me because I was scared I wasn't gonna be able to get the weight back up. And today I did it like it was nothing, and it felt good, and I feel like I can add weight next time, or reps next time, probably weight. I wanna get the weight up. I've never squatted more than 155, so I think next time I'll try for a PR. But that was like a volume PR, so I'm super stoked. But this brings me to my next point about where a lot of people go wrong with trying to build muscle, and this comes down to the structure of your overall plan. And my first like tip / point here is that a lot of people fail to follow a well-structured workout program. Oftentimes people have way too much variation in their workout program in order to apply progressive overload, which is what is needed to actually like make progress, get stronger, build muscle. And progressive overload just means increasing load over time, load being like reps times sets times weight. And it's really hard to do that when you're not doing the same exercises every week. Basically, your workouts week to week should look exactly the same for at least 4 to 6 weeks, with the only variation being increasing reps, sets, and weights. But then on the flip side, the other way a lot of people go wrong is not changing the rep range, like only training for hypertrophy or only training for strength. You do want to still phase your workouts. You don't want to change them up every time, but you want to change them up every 4 to 6 to maybe 8 weeks if you're still making progress at 8 weeks. Basically, the body builds muscle because it has to adapt to a stimulus. And if you're giving it the same exact stimulus over and over and over, i.e. only ever training in the hypertrophy range, then the adaptation is going to greatly slow down and you're going to plateau really hard and really fast. Whereas if you change it up every time you just start to plateau, you give your body a new stimulus to adapt to, and it has to keep growing and adapting. So how you should implement this is every 4 to 8 weeks, depending on how fast you're making progress. Like, if you start plateauing, switch, but if you're making like continual good progress, you can hang in it a little bit longer. But every 4 to 8 weeks, you want to do like strength, hypertrophy, slightly higher rep, maybe performance-based, then back to strength, then hypertrophy, then higher rep, etc. Letting yourself get stuck in one modality is letting your physique get stuck in one place, basically. And then the other thing when it comes to just general overall structure of a plan, not necessarily workout structure, but this applies to workouts too, is just lack of consistency. That's like a big one. That's what gets a lot of people. You can have the best workout program, the best diet plan, the best sleep schedule, etc. But if you're not consistent with it, you're not gonna get anywhere. If you're only hitting your protein goals 3 or 4 days out of the week, if you're only hitting your calorie goals 3 or 4 days out of the week, if you're missing 1 or 2 workouts every week, like that's not, you're not following the plan. Like, if you're only doing things
60 to 70% of the way, you're gonna get like 40 to 50% of the results that you would otherwise. Consistency is just, it's so key. And this is why it's important to pick a plan that you can be consistent with. Yeah, maybe you could get great results training 5 days a week, but if you can't be consistent with it, then don't aim for that. Like, aim for being consistent with a plan that you're training 3 days a week, and you will get better results because you can be consistent with it. So, consistency. I think it is snack time.
While I eat this delicious combo of post-workout carbs and protein, I want to talk about the next thing that trips a lot of people up when it comes to building muscle. And the next thing sounds really counterintuitive, but it gets in a lot of people's way. And that is fear of weight gain. But here's the thing, muscle has weight to it. So if you are on a journey to gain muscle, you have to be okay with your weight increasing, with the scale going up. But a lot of people aren't. A lot of people want to build muscle. They want to look more toned. They want to look leaner. And muscle is required for that, but they're scared of the number on the scale. Oh my God, this is my first time adding green onion to this, and this is just genius. But fear of gaining weight often leads people to implement behaviors that work against their goals of building muscle, which is not eating enough. A lot of people go, oh yeah, I want to build muscle, and so they start lifting heavy and then they eat in a deficit, or they try to eat at maintenance. And like, if you're a major beginner, you may be able to build muscle in a deficit or at maintenance, but if you've been lifting for a couple months, you need to be in a calorie surplus and you are going to gain weight. It also leads to people overtraining. They think, oh yeah, I'm eating more, so I have to be training more. But again, if you're out training your calorie intake, then you're not in a surplus anymore. And people do this with cardio too. Like, they'll increase their calories to be in a calorie surplus and then add in cardio because they're scared of being in a calorie surplus. Take them out of the calorie surplus, and again, now you're not in a calorie surplus. So it's gonna be really hard to gain muscle. People are also afraid to add carbs, and carbs are literally like the fuel. I mean, I guess protein is like technically. Protein is the building blocks of your muscle tissue. But think of carbs as like the glue that holds the building blocks together. That's not quite like how it actually works, but like, carbs are so freaking important for building muscle. And so you'll see people go into a surplus and they'll just double their protein intake and keep their carb intake low because they're scared of carbs, because they think carbs are going to make them gain weight. But like, if you're trying to build muscle, you are trying to gain weight. And so you need to let go of all of the fear that you have around the number on the scale going up. All right, so since I used the last of my frozen smoothie cube things today for my smoothie, I need to prep some more. So lucky you guys, you get to see how I prep the frozen veggie base of the smoothie. I think I'm gonna do something a little bit different this time. I usually don't add the coconut milk into the cubes because I feel like better to add that in liquid form, so there's more like liquid in the smoothie so that it's the right consistency. But I've been really annoyed with like having to mix it, because when it's in a can it comes separated and you just get like the chunks of the coconut milk and then you get the watery coconut milk. It's just annoying to deal with, so I kind of just want to throw it all in a blender together, blend it up into the cubes, freeze the cubes, and then use it like that. So I'm gonna throw the coconut milk into the cubes this time. Hopefully it goes okay. Probably just will mean that I'm gonna need to add more like almond milk or whatever milk I use for like the liquidy base, or just like more water or something when I blend the smoothie, but that's okay. So I'm just going to steam some sweet potato, zucchini, and cauliflower, add some goat milk, full fat yogurt, and the full can of coconut milk probably, and then I think that'll be it. Dinner time. I am honestly quite impressed with myself with how beautiful this looks. It's just a bunch of veggies, rice, chicken, and then Kevin's Korean barbecue paleo whatever sauce with some black sesame seeds sprinkled on top. This has become one of my absolute favorite dinners. It's so easy. So delicious, packed full of micronutrients, great amount of carbs and protein for that workout and muscle building fuel, and it makes me happy. Okay, I know it looks like I haven't moved, but it's actually like an hour later. I finished dinner. I'm debating what to have for dessert right now. We'll see. I have to see what chocolate I have in my cabinet. Anyway, there's one more thing that I wanted to cover as far as mistakes go when it comes to building muscle, and that is expectations. A lot of people go wrong with their expectations for the process. First one is expecting fast results. You think losing fat is slow? Building muscle is even slower. For women, if you're doing like everything right, you can reasonably expect to gain 1.5 pounds of muscle per month. So if you're trying to build like 10 pounds of muscle, that's gonna take like at least a year. And that's a year of like consistency and doing everything well. So people are often disappointed when they're like, I've been doing this for 3 months and I see no change. It's like, well, probably because you've maybe built 1.5 pounds of muscle. You're not gonna notice much of a difference with that, but if you keep going, you'll get there. Another thing people expect is to have constant motivation, but here's the thing. Motivation is fleeting. Motivation is not your friend when it comes to consistency and when it comes to establishing an overall healthy lifestyle. Motivation will not get to your goal. Learning how to stick with things and be consistent without motivation is how to get to your goal. And lastly, I think a lot of people also tend to expect that their body is going to respond similarly to someone else's, whether it be someone that they saw on Instagram, someone that they saw on YouTube, their friend, etc. If you know of someone who has gone on this journey and you know what their timeline was like, you cannot expect your body to respond the same way, to stick to the same timeline, to have everything work the same for you as it did for someone else. There are just so many factors that make it impossible for us all to get the same results. Genetics being a huge one, but also our background when it comes to health and fitness. You know, if you are just getting into training, your body's gonna respond very differently than someone who's been training for 5 years. If you're just getting into training, honestly, you usually get better and faster results, but like that might not be the case. Or if you're coming from a background of constant chronic dieting, your body's gonna respond differently than someone who's been in a constant calorie surplus. So my recommendation for this is to go into a muscle building journey with very few expectations, and definitely not an expectation of a set timeline for like how much muscle you're going to build in a certain amount of time or how fast you're going to get stronger. Like, set the goals of building X amount of muscle, being able to squat X amount of pounds, and work towards that goal and be consistent and trust the process and go on the journey and screw motivation, don't listen to it, and just keep trucking along and you will get there. So for dessert, I've decided to have a serving of the Theo dark chocolate with almonds. It's been a hot minute since I have consistently had chocolate for dessert. I don't know what's happened to me. Like, I still have dessert a lot. It just hasn't been chocolate lately. I've been missing my like go-to chocolate bars. So I'm gonna have this much, because that's serving's a third of a bar, but it comes in 8 pieces, which is really inconvenient for serving size. So this is about a third of a bar. I don't know, it's fine. And I think that will round me out for my calories for the day. I was gonna give you my macros, but I don't have my phone. Where's my phone? I forgot I plugged it in because it was at like 4% battery. Now it's at 12. So I just threw the chocolate into MyFitnessPal, and I also have another like half a tablespoon of honey in here because I'm probably gonna have like a cup of tea or two later, and I'm gonna put honey in it. So that will be part of my calories, and that brings me to 133 grams of protein. Quite a bit more than I usually eat. That's more than I aim for. I'm aiming for like 100. 228 grams of carbs, fantastic. And then 79 grams of fat. That's probably why I'm so full, is because I've had so much more protein today than normal. So that brings me to a total of 2,155 calories. This week I'm aiming for 2,150 on average for calories. So that's perfect. So I'm gonna eat my chocolate, enjoy my chocolate, probably make myself a cup of tea with some honey later. And that's everything that I'm gonna eat today. So I think that's gonna be the end of this video. I hope you guys liked it. If you do have any other things to add for common mistakes that people make, or mistakes that you've made in trying to build muscle and how you have navigated around them, please share in the comments below. Do make sure you check out the Daily Symbiotic from Seed and use the code FitNerdy to get yourself 15% off. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up. It really does support me and my channel. I really genuinely appreciate it. Please share this video with your friends, your family, and your neighbors. If you want to see more videos from me all about health and fitness, you can check them out over here. To see future videos, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit the little notification bell so you get notified when I post a video, and I will see you very soon. Bye!